It's almost the middle of the year, and I wanted to kind of talk about some of the 5-star reads that I've had this year and why I think you should pick them up. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to go over all of the 5-star reads that I have had so far this year and tell you why I think you should give them a try because they have left a lasting impression on me. So I wanted to kind of go over those with you. And before we get into that, please make sure that you always like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. Check my description box below for all of my links, including my Patreon, which I will also pin in the comments. Come on over and join us for the fun. Also, my Bookish Box Ambassador link is down below. You can click on that and shop my page, or if you use this code that's on the screen, you can get 10% off their entire website. So just make sure you click on my link below and use my code, and all my socials are down below as well. So let's get into it. I have kind of a little bit of everything this year. I have some graphic novel, I have a manga, have some paranormal romance, fantasy romance. I even have like a YA contemporary. I don't even know if you would call it a romance, but let's just get into it. And I really want to express to you that if you like any of these books and you are convinced to go out and try it, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. If I have persuaded you, shall we say, to go and try any of these out. I always like to know if you like my recommendations, or, you know, if you're just here for a fun time. I mean, I'm okay with that, but let's dive in to the books. So I am going to go in order from the beginning of the year until now, all of the 5-star reads that I've had. I've only had like 8, I want to say, which, you know, isn't terrible, especially since I think I just logged my 104th book of the year. Not really getting a lot of 5 stars, which is wild. So I feel like these 5 stars really are making an impact on me, because if I haven't gotten that many 5 stars, then that just means that I don't know why I'm reading what I'm reading, because you tend to know what you like, right? And maybe I'm just not reading what I like. I don't know. But we're just going to dive right into it. The first one is a graphic novel. It's like a webtoon bind up. And it was my first 5-star read of the year. And that is Freaking Romance. And this is a webtoon bind up. It is by Snail Lord. And I do know that volume 2 just came out or is about to come out. So I am desperate to get to volume 2. But let me tell you a little bit about what this is about and why I think you should read it. So if you've never read a graphic novel, you don't really know if you want to, this would be a good starting graphic novel for you, because it's very easy to follow and understand. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous. And you are following our girl who is looking for an apartment to rent because her family wants her to go to college and basically get a degree in something that she doesn't want to do and follow in the footsteps that they have laid out for her. As long as she does that, they will continue to let her live with them, pay her bills, all of these things. And our girl doesn't want to do that. She has, you know, a passion to do something else. And so she breaks away from them, goes to try to find an apartment that she can afford. The apartment, they have mentioned that it is haunted, that the previous tenant went missing and they don't know why. So she's a little cautious, but nonetheless dives right in. While she's there, she notices that she keeps seeing somebody in her apartment, and it scares her because she thinks someone broke in. However, she realizes she can't touch this person, but her cat or her dog, I can't remember if she has a cat or a dog. I want to say it's a cat. Yeah, it's a cat. Her cat can see this person and snuggles up with this person and all these things. So she doesn't know what's going on. And the story goes from there. It is about them discovering each other. It is about them talking with each other, becoming friends. And you can definitely tell that a romance is blossoming. It's just so wholesome and so good. And I can't wait to see where volume 2 goes with this. But if you want a good romance, if you want something that is going to be lighthearted and fun, it doesn't take very long to get through a graphic novel, so you can kind of just pick it up as a palate cleanser, or maybe just see if you want to read a graphic novel. Definitely try this. I think this will hit the spot for any romance lover out there, especially if you like paranormal romances or fantasy romances, because this has quite a twist on it and I absolutely loved it. So definitely one of my favorites of the year. And then, of course, my next 5-star read is a manga. And if you don't read manga, or maybe don't like manga, maybe you've tried manga and you just don't know what you like, this is also another good starting point, I guess you would say, for a manga, because it's very easy to follow. It doesn't have a whole lot going on. The story is very wholesome. And of course, that is My Happy Marriage. I devoured this manga. I love every volume that is in here. You are following our girl. She is raised, her mother passes away whenever she is young, so her father remarried. He has a daughter with her stepmother, and as she's being raised, it's kind of like a Cinderella-esque type thing where she's the forgotten one, right? The one that's made to be a slave. They treat her horribly, the stepmother and the stepsister do. They're horrible to her. I don't know if I can express that, but then her father starts being horrible with her as well, and there's a reason why they're horrible to her. Like the mother has one agenda of why she doesn't like her, and then the father has a different one. But our girl, she's raised in a very bad situation. Now she is to the point where they need to wed her and make alliances with other houses in Japan. So she is told that she is going to live with this guy who is the general of the army, I would say. And he is not known to be a very nice man. He has been known to just throw people out. He has never went through with his engagements. So she is going in this knowing that he's not going to pick her, knowing that after a couple days he's going to basically throw her out and she can't go back home. So she's going to be living on the streets, and she's resigned herself to that. She says she's okay with that. She goes to live at his house and things unfold, okay? Things are not what you think they are. Our girl is discovering things that she never even knew. It is so good, you guys. I cried through this whole thing. I know there's more volumes coming out, but I cried. And it was just so wholesome and so sweet and so good. Then, once I got caught up on all the manga that is currently published, I decided to go and watch the Netflix series. There's only one season out, and it is so good. The graphics are the exact same as they are in here. Storyline is almost the exact same. I don't even think they deviated from the manga, which I really enjoyed. But just watching it being played out after it already had such an impact on me was just beautiful. So, this has some paranormal elements to it. That's all I'm gonna say. I loved it. If you love romance, if you want something that is a clean romance where there's not spice in here at all, definitely pick this up. I think that you would like it. Granted, I don't know what future volumes are gonna hold, but as of right now, it is a clean romance. It is wonderful. It is beautiful, and I think everybody should give this a shot. Okay. The next one that I gave 5 stars to is actually the second book in a series, but we're going to talk about the series as a whole and why I think you need to run and go try this. And that is To Ashes and Dust by Luna Laurier. This is the second book in the Of Shadow and Moonlight series. There is currently 2 books and 1 novella. You want to read Of Shadow and Moonlight first, and then Tipped in Frost and Blood, which is the novella that goes in between book 1 and 2, and then read book 2. I know the author is almost done with, I think, the second novella that goes after book 2. So I cannot wait for that. But I'm telling you guys, you have probably heard me rave about this series so many times, but I stress to you, if you love paranormal romance, if you love gods and different realms of existence, reincarnation, if you like a lot of those elements and you like fated mates, you like spicy romance, you love a dark, brooding alpha male, let me tell you, okay, this book has it all for you. You're following our girl Cassie, and she has a chronic health condition. She is not expected to live very long, and she has resigned herself that she knows that her days are numbered. So she's been very isolated. She's kind of done it to herself, and other people have kind of done it to her. She lives in like a duplex type situation next to her parents. She ends up going to college. She has one best friend who doesn't even know her condition. While she's at college, she meets a guy named Damien. He won't ever leave her alone. And then all of a sudden, the longer that she is hanging around Damien, more weird things are happening. She sees something happen that she shouldn't have seen, and the story goes from there. Okay, the story goes from there. I can't run any more for you. This is so good. It has some dark elements to it, so please make sure you check trigger warnings. But overall, it's not a dark book yet. I don't know where the author's going with it, but I really loved it. I had discovered this book because it came as a special edition in my bookish box 2 years ago. I want to say this book is so good. I have fallen in love with these characters. This has a found family aspect. This will grip your heart. You will laugh. You will cry. You will experience all different emotions in here, but it is definitely worth it. Definitely a paranormal romance. It is a new adult, so it can lean a little on the YA side in certain parts, but it also has really spicy scenes and adult themes to it. It's just the perfect blend of everything. So I cannot stress enough, go read Shadow and Moonlight because I devoured it. So many people are loving it. Definitely get in before it starts being hyped up. The next one that I'm going to talk about is something that came entirely out of left field. I mean, I didn't even expect for me to love this book as much as I did this year. I picked it up because it was on my TBR cart, and I thought, you know, it's going to be a YA. I'm not going to like it. I thought it was more like on the middle grade children's side. It is not, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And that is Emmy and the Tudor King by Natalie Murray. You guys, I am shook. Not gonna lie, I love this so much. I ended up reading the second book, and I'm wanting to read the third book very, very soon. It is on my TBR cart. Let's talk about this book. So you are following our girl. What's her name? We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Okay? Emmy is our girl. Now, our girl is getting ready to graduate high school, okay? She ends up buying a ring from her neighbor, and it's like this beautiful ring with like a blue gem inside, and she goes to sleep and ends up in 1580 Tudor England. How did our girl get to 1580 Tudor England? I have no idea. However, our girl is trying to navigate the Tudor court. This is an alternative history where if Queen Elizabeth actually married Robert Dudley and had a son named Nicholas, and he's king in 1580. So our girl, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? And she is trying to survive, finds out that it's the ring that transports her back and forth. She knows some things in history that are going to be happening, so she's trying to stop it from happening. This book, it gripped me. I love it. I love everything about it. There's no spice in it. That's the reason why the author came out with an omnibus, and it's new adult. So it's the same story, but with very spicy scenes, and I can't wait to read that. But the YA version, it really has me. Okay, there is romance in here, but it's like closed door, fade to black romance. So if you like that, you'd like the YA version. If you want your spice, try the omnibus, because I have been told that it gets very spicy in there. I love it. I don't know what else to say. It's time travel, fantasy romance, Tudor England. what more can you say? That hits all of my boxes. I think this is a book that is not talked about hardly at all. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about it. It is a hidden gem. It truly, truly is. Is the writing spectacular? We could have a debate on that. I don't think that the writing is overly amazing, but it's gripping. It keeps you wanting to read. It keeps you wanting to flip those pages. So no matter, if they write it like it's going to be a collector's edition at one point, or they write it just because it's their debut novel, which it's not, it still gripped me. It held me in a chokehold until I finished it, and I immediately went into book 2. I couldn't stop. So if you like fantasy romance and time travel and alternate history, you want a clean romance, here's another one for you. I will be getting to the omnibus because I'm not gonna lie, I like my books spicy. Again, this came out of nowhere. I did not expect to love this book as much as I do. So I highly suggest give it a try. Just try it, okay? If you end up reading the first 5 pages or 5 chapters and you're like, I don't know what Jen over there on Enchanted Rose Books is talking about, then that's fine, fair enough. But I think a lot of people should give this a try at least. All right, you dark romance girlies, I'm talking to you, okay? I'm talking to you. Listen up. You need to read this series, okay? Because I did my reread of Losers Part 2 by Harley LaRue, and you guys, I cannot get enough of this book. I can't. So this is the Dark and Disturbed special edition. The normal edition has 4 guys with their shirts off. It is a Why Choose. I've realized I'm a huge Why Choose lover. I love Why Choose. I don't know why. I do not know why, but I love Why Choose, and that's okay. We can love what we love, right? Losers, okay? You have to start with The Dare, and then read Losers Part 1, and then Part 2. That's all it's in this series. It's a very dark romance. Please check trigger warnings before you go in. It is super spicy. It is very, very heavily built with a lot of smut. Okay, so if you do not like that, please do not read this because it's a lot. Not gonna lie. But the best thing about this is the plot is good. The storyline, amazing. The way the characters are outlined, their personalities, what they're going through. It made me feel like I was actually reading 2 different books. I was like, okay, great. Character-driven story, love it. Here's what we're doing. And then I got a lot of smut. And I was like, this is the perfect mixture. I think Harley LaRue did an amazing job. She's a queen at dark romance, and the woman can write smut, okay? She's great at it. So if you like your dark romance, if you like your Why Choose, if you like your book filled with all the filthy things, go try Losers by Harley LaRue. Definitely start with The Dare as the novella. Okay, the next one is on the opposite end of the spectrum from what we were just talking about. It tore me up, gut-wrenched me. I don't even know what life is anymore after this book. It was beautiful, heart-wrenching, sad, but glorious. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This ripped me apart, you guys. Towards the end of this book, I'm sobbing. I am hysterical. I have so much waterworks going on. My husband comes over to me while I'm on the couch and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just a sobbing mess. It was so good. We are following our girl. I think her name's Poppy. Yes, her name is Poppy. And she lives in this town where a family from Norway moves in next door, and their son, Rune, is the same age as Poppy. So they become fast friends, right? They're growing up, they're friends, they get to their teenage years, they find out that they like each other a little bit more than friends, they start dating, they're in love, right? And all of a sudden, Rune is told by his dad that they have to move back to Norway because of his job. So Rune is not happy. He's mad at his father. He goes and tells Poppy. They have one beautiful night as teenagers, shall we say. They're like 15. And Rune leaves for Norway. They keep talking over something kind of like Skype, I guess you would say. And all of a sudden, after a month or two, Poppy just stops responding to Rune. And he doesn't know what's going on. So he's already angry with his father. He's already like in this teenage angst period. And now Poppy isn't talking to him. So he's just a whole bundle of nerves, okay? Fast forward 2 years, they move back to the same house next to Poppy. And Poppy tries to avoid him until she can't. And he finds out what happens. And I can't tell you anymore from there because this book was so good. I could cry right now thinking about Poppy and Rune and what they were going through. The emotions and the descriptive writing and just everything about this book, you guys, was just glorious. I will say it is not for everybody because it does deal with some very heavy topics. So check the trigger warnings before you read it because it can mess you up. I'm not gonna lie. And if the trigger warnings are okay for you, then definitely read it, but just be prepared that by the end of the book, you will be a sobbing mess. I have seen even the girl in my book club who always says she doesn't have a soul because she never has emotions. She cried in this book and she never does that. And so it's gonna be gut-wrenching, but it's beautiful and it's glorious. And I still think about this story to this day. I think about Poppy and I think about Rune, and that's why it makes it a 5-star for me. It is a standalone. Tilly Cole is coming out with another book kind of set in the same friend circle, families and stuff like that later this year, but it's not a continuation. This is a standalone. You don't have to read anymore, but it was so good. So good. All right, my second to last 5-star that I had so far this year, because we're only halfway through, right? That is Night of the Goddess by Briar Bolin. Now, this is book 4 in the Blood of a Fae series. Book 1 is Queen of Roses. It's beautiful. You guys, this ending to this 4-book series, okay? I can't talk about it enough. I really, really can't. The story is an Arthurian reimagining. You are in kind of like Camelot, right? You have King Arthur, who is our main girl's brother. She kind of isn't like a slave or anything like that, but she really doesn't have like a whole lot going for herself. She was gonna go be at the temple where they have like the Temple of the Three, I think is what they call it. All of a sudden, her brother, he's not a nice guy. Okay, not a nice guy. We do not like Arthur. And he sends her on this quest with these 2 other guys, and they are to go find Excalibur and bring it back to him. We're on our quest. We find out that our main girl is part Fae, I think. So she's been drinking this tonic every other day to keep her Fae abilities and stuff dulled, where she doesn't have them. But whenever she's on this thing, she's told that Arthur wants her to drink this liquid every day. So there's a soldier with her that is like forcing her to drink this, and she knows that it's killing her, but she does it anyway. After several days of it, whenever she literally can't even move anymore, the other guy that they're going with, he ends up, just getting rid of that guy and tells her to stop drinking the liquid. And the story goes from there. We do find Excalibur. There are things that happen that you wouldn't expect, but by the time you get to the end of book 1 and you go into book 2, the story turns into so much more. Book 3 expands on that, and then by the time you get to book 4, you are like in this massive universe of a different plot. Every little thing that you learned from book 1 really ties in. The ending to this series was chef's kiss. I'm not gonna lie. It wraps up so many questions. It wraps up so many storylines. It was good. It was so good. And then at the end of it, you get like a little epilogue of On Wings of Blood is what it's called. And it's like a little like chapter, maybe half of a chapter teaser. And whenever you're reading it, you're like, who could this be about? And then as soon as you realize like the setting that you're in and stuff like that, you're like, that's who it's about. So I messaged the author and I was like, is On Wings of Blood about so-and-so? And they were like, yes, yes it is. And I'm like, and it's coming out, I think, in October. I'm here for it, you guys. I'm here. If you want an Arthurian reimagining that ends up being way more than that, if you want a fae fantasy romance with a very good plot, expansive world, it borderlines like an epic fantasy, to be honest with you. It is so good. It is so, so good. I cannot stress enough. This was a hidden gem that I didn't expect. Got all 4 books off NetGalley whenever they were as ARCs. Flew through them. I couldn't stop. I read the first 3 books all in April. And then it took me all of May to read this one because I didn't want it to end. I knew that there was no more after this. And I was like, I don't want to read it. But I finally did. And I am so happy I did because it is one of my favorite books or series of all time. Finally, we are here at our last book so far that I have given 5 stars to, and that is Blood Feast by Vela Roth. Are any of you surprised at this point? Because I wasn't. I loved this ending to the initial storyline. I know Vela Roth has talked that she is going to be doing more books like in this world with different characters. Now, I don't know if they're going to be just like one-off books, or if she's going to take Mac and Leros, for instance, and do like a duology with them, or just a standalone. I don't know how she's doing it. I'm going to let her work her magic because she's a genius. I'm not going to lie. But in Blood Feast, it was the right amount of spice. It was the right amount of plot. It was the right amount of fighting. It was the right amount of groveling. It was the right amount of tensions between fated mates. There was so many things that were so great in it that hit so perfectly. And if you read the whole series up to that point, you know that every single thing you find out in book 8, you can tie back to any of the books. Whenever I thought I was reading a random scene of Leo and Cassia from book 1, turns out I needed to know that for book 8. And I could not believe how she wove this story across 8 books, kept me interested. This world is massive. There's so many characters and so many people at play that you meet, that you fall in love with. This has amazing LGBTQ plus representation. It just hits all of the spots that you would definitely want to hit, because as much as I love Leo and Cassia, I cannot lie anymore. After book 8, it solidified my thoughts that Mac and Leros, both of them, I think they are almost above Leo and Cassia. I know, Leo is my guy, okay? Like, I love Leo. He is the perfect Hesperine in this world. I love Mac and Leros. Just a little brief synopsis, because I'm sure if you've watched my videos, you already know what it's about. You are following our girl, Cassia. She's the bastard daughter of the King of Tenebra. He wants to do the pact or the oath with Orthros, which Orthros houses all the Hesperines. They are vampiric creatures, not your normal vampires. These are peace-loving, harmonious vampires. They do not kill unless they absolutely have to. If they drink your blood, they cannot kill you. They cannot drain you because of their powers in their, I guess, fangs or saliva heals you as you're being drank. So they can't harm you. And they're beautiful, okay? They're beautiful specimens, I'm not gonna lie. But he wants to redo the oath with Orthros, so he brings the embassy with him, and in with them comes Leo, who is a new ambassador. He is just like a little fresh young one, shall we say, in the embassy. He wants to be a diplomat. Cassia, on the other hand, wasn't supposed to be at the place, but she has made her way, as she does, to where they're having the oath at. She inserts herself. Her father can't turn her away at that point because people have been introduced to her. Now she's there, and we find out because she wants to meet a Hesperine. Why? Because everybody in Tenebra thinks that the Hesperines kill people. They're necrophiliacs, I think. So why does she want to meet one? And why is it Leo that she meets? And Leo and her have many conversations over the course of several days, and you start finding out more about the Hesperines and who they are, but you also start finding out why Cassia wanted to meet a Hesperine, why she wanted to insert herself, and it goes from there. I'm not going to tell you anymore. You need to go read these books because it's beautiful. And if you don't want to sit down and read a 600, 700, 800 page book and you think that it's going to be too slow to read, guess what? All of them, I think, until the 16th of June are 85% off on Audible. So you can go to Audible and get, I think, books 1 through 7, because I don't think 8 is out yet, but all 7 books plus the prequel for 85% off. So it's not going to cost you very much. Go ahead on over there and get all of them. Devour them through audio because it is beautiful. You guys, it's so good. I love them so much, and I'm going to stop raving about them because I just did a 24-hour vlog where I finished up Blood Feast, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. But I wanted to express to you guys that it is so amazing. And any of these other books, definitely go try because this is coming out on the 15th, which is Saturday. So you have until the end of Sunday to pick up any of these books that I talked about, or the whole Bloodgray series, or any of them, up to 85% off on Audible. This is not sponsored. I just wanted to give you a little tidbit. I have chatted your ear off enough tonight, so I'm gonna let you go. Let me know in the description box below, have you read any of these? Did you go purchase any of these on Audible during that sale after we had this video come out? Are you going to be picking up any of these books? Let me know because I would love to talk to you about it. And don't forget to come and join me over on Patreon because we can talk more over there. But I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye!